Hey everybody, this is going to be a quick 4 or 5 minute video on the Exmark Vertex Series S 200-hour review. This is a 2024. I bought it in December 29th last year for a tax write-off, and this is the first stand-on unit I've actually owned, and I am very much a big fan of this machine. There's some pros and cons I want to go over with you if you're thinking about purchasing a Vertex for yourself, and kind of, you get the step up with the X. This is one step below that in the S, but I have a buddy with the X, and I don't recommend that one for some reasons that I'm not going to go over. But this one is strictly for the S. So if you're considering this machine, go ahead and follow along with me here. So I'm going to start off with what I like about it. Obviously, this is the 60-inch version. You can see it right there on the deck. And I'm a big fan of the 60-inch. It's fast. You're covering a lot of ground, getting a lot of shit done with it. The deck adjustment right here on the side is very convenient. I'm a big fan of this as well. All you do is you pull this pin, put it in your desired height. You get 1/4-inch increments. Hit this button. Drop it down. I mean, it's straightforward. It's easy. If you got a hump in your yard, you can, while you're still mowing, you don't even have to turn the blades off. You don't got to do nothing. You just pull that handle up, and you're good to go. I don't know how many gallons this tank is, but I get almost a week out of it before I'm filling it up. I don't know what the hour difference is, but you get the gauge, which is a big plus. You're not having to open up the gas tank and kind of see where you're at. What else do I got here? So I'm just looking at my list. It's comfortable. You get a good platform when you stand on it. It's a spring platform, strong hydros. This thing holds hills really well. Comfortable pad. Some of the guys have stitching issues right here. This one only has 200 hours on it, 190, and I have yet to run into that. Maybe if I get it up more around 500-600, kind of where your knees are hitting the pad. That's where that stitching tends to come undone. And this is obviously the Kawasaki version. I run Kawasaki's on all my motors instead of the Kohlers. I'm a fan of them. They always hold up well for me. But something that, a couple of cons now, something that I'm not too big of a fan on is, at first, whenever I got the machine, I thought that it was because of the 60-inch deck. This is my first time with the stand-on unit, and I figured it was because of the wide deck. Whenever you're cutting on a hillside, unless it's perfectly flat, if you're going long ways with the hill, not up and down, but long ways, it cuts a bit of a line in the hill, so you can see exactly. I would put a reference picture on screen if I had one, but I'm sure you guys can kind of follow along. So when you're cutting, the blade is actually digging into the hillside and it's cutting a line in the hill. And that is not an issue because of the deck height. My buddy has a Laser Z 60-inch deck, and he can cut, it don't matter what hill it is, and he does not have that problem with the deck cutting the lines in there. Now, after you get comfortable on the machine, you can work the technique a little bit and kind of minimize that. And then, if it does happen, you just go back with the trimmer and, kind of cover it up so it's not so noticeable. But that is something I wanted to note. Oil changes on this thing, complete bastard to do. So your filter's right here on the side. Your obviously your dipstick's here, and then this is your drain tube. But for this to do the oil change, I actually jack the machine up. I run the tube right through here, and it kind of sits. It gets hindered by the wheel, trying to put the drain pan under. It gets hindered by the wheel on the deck, even when it's all the way up. So I kind of jack it up, and it's just a big bitch to do. All my other machines, I can do an oil change in legitimately 2-3 minutes. This thing is usually about a 15 to 20 minute ordeal to get that oil change, and it just makes a big giant mess every time. And this is a big one too. Now, this ain't a problem that hopefully you won't have. I think this was just a manufacturer issue when I had bought it, but it was actually not this left wheel, but this right wheel happened at 150 hours where the lugs come out. The lug nuts were still on the stud, but it pulled through the wheel, and so my wheel it was cambered. It was like this literally, and so whenever it was rolling, it was doing this because it was only hanging on by one lug nut. And so I took it in there, and they replaced it. It was a manufacturer thing, so it was under warranty. They didn't give me any hard time about it. The guys that I got a pretty good place I buy from, and Exmark's a good reputable company. They're not going to screw you on something like that. Hopefully that's not an issue that you have with yours, but that definitely was worth noting. That was right at 150 hours, I do believe. But then after they put that new wheel on there, I really haven't had any issues with this since. So those are just my 3 cons on it. And other than that, I can't complain about nothing else. It's got good controls, comfortable. I'm a big fan of the doubles. So when you're backing up, you just, you kind of switch your hands. It's comfortable. At first, it may seem a little odd, but compared to a Gravely, I run Gravely's as well. Compared to the Pro Stance, I'm a big fan of this model. Handbrake's right on the side. Everything's easy to access. The only time you ever got to get off the machine is if you pick something up off the yard, but everything else you can basically do on the machine with the park and brake and with the deck adjustment and everything like that. So that is my review of the Exmark Vertex Series S. Hope this helps you guys.